Community is more than where you live. It's the people in it.
I help equip Baton Rouge communities with resources that facilitate change.
Who go above and beyond to help it thrive.
I'm educating children in the Bronx on their community history.
AARP recognizes leaders who uplift communities.
I'm helping the community take their health more seriously.
AARP believes when we unite for the greater good, we thrive together.
Hi, family. I'm Victoria Kirby York, the Director of Public Policy and Programs at the National Black Justice Collective, also known as NBJC, and I am honored and thrilled to welcome you to the 5th annual Audre Lorde Wisdom Awards. Woohoo! I know y'all are cheering in your seats. This event would not have been possible without the wisdom of our former CEO and Executive Director, Sharon Letman Hicks, who is also an honoree last year for our Sister in the Movement Award. Thank you so much, Sharon, for laying the foundation that we continue to build on this year and for many years to come. Y'all, let's give a virtual round of applause for Sharon. Woohoo! We're humbled on this national Honor Our LGBTQ+ Elders Day to celebrate the contributions of Black lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer plus, and same gender loving women and femme elders who have blazed trails for so many of us, especially me. Our awards program is partially named in honor of a big important part of our logo, the Nyansepo knot. The Nyansepo knot is a Ghanaian Adinkra symbol that represents wisdom, ingenuity, persistence in achieving goals through the most strategic means. And when I tell you the sisters that we're honoring today have done that in many ways throughout their lives and throughout their careers. Many of our African ancestor tribes celebrated and continue to this day to celebrate our elders as those with the most wisdom among us and best suited to prepare our future leaders. Many of those tribal lineages were also matrilineal. Oh, don't y'all love the little thumbs up that comes every so now and then? All right, AI. Many of these tribal lineages are matrilineal, which makes it fitting that these awards are given to women and femme elders who have shown and shared their wisdom throughout their careers, and let me say, are past due for recognition of their accomplishments. So I hope this is the beginning of just more and more celebrations for the women that we're honoring today. Our Wisdom Awards program also honors the iconic Black, lesbian, mother, warrior, poet, Audre Lorde. She shared her wisdom in ways that have outlived her and shaped her peers, as well as the many generations that have followed. Programs like these would not be possible without the incredible support of our partners. We thank our partners at AARP for helping us to be able to continue honoring and supporting these legendary and iconic community members. With this in mind, I invite you to watch this video from Cassandra Contave Burton, the Interim Senior Manager of Audience and Strategy for Peoples with Disabilities at AARP.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of AARP, our members across the U.S., including about 1 million or so self-reported LGBTQ members, I'm so honored to be here with you today. I'm Cassandra Contave Burton, and I lead our LGBTQ research at AARP. I'm so grateful to be here once again to honor some amazing trailblazers. I'd be remiss if I did not take the time to acknowledge the fact that I and so many of our viewers stand on your shoulders. We recognize the blood, sweat, tears, and sacrifices that you made, willingly or not, in order to live your lives so freely without hindrance. So many of us today benefit directly from your actions, your pain, and your willingness to make these sacrifices. Because of you, people like Victoria and myself are so fortunate to work for organizations that support and advocate for all people, including those who are part of the LGBTQ family. We are fortunate to be able to talk about our partners, our wives, and our girlfriends without fear. but we know that so many LGBTQ folks still cannot. And so the work must continue until we all can live our lives freely without fear. AARP has an unwavering commitment to the LGBTQ community that is reflected in our core belief in the dignity, worth, and potential of every individual. Our core mission is to empower people to choose how they live as they age. This includes you and I. We sponsor events like today's to educate, support, and demonstrate our solidarity with all of you and our unwavering commitment to LGBTQ people. As an ally organization, you can expect us to show up and to do our part so that every adult can live their lives as they wish.
Thank you, Cassandra, and thank you, AARP. We urge all of you to support the work of our partner and our elders by using our Action Hub, which can be found at www.nbjc.org, to push lawmakers to improve and expand our nation's caregiving programs to ensure more elders can be safe as they age at home. In addition to honoring our trailblazers, I'm thrilled about our torchbearers. You'll have the chance to hear from them today. These warriors have carried the baton with these leaders and continue the many trails created by our honorees. The thing that I especially love about the concept of the torch or the baton when you're running a race is that period of time where you have the thrilling opportunity to hold the baton or carry the torch together. You know, we know many of our honorees are still continuing to build upon their legacy and continuing to doing great work as they also pull their hands back to ensure that the generations behind them are able to continue the very same trails that they have blazed. So without further ado, and I love all the comments coming in, please keep them coming. Celebrate the program, the various honorees and torchbearers as they come up. It makes the program even more thrilling. So yes, please continue to do that. Our first torchbearer is Reverend Elder Carmarian D. Anderson Harvey, who is a faith leader that has exemplified what faith in action looks like throughout her career, much like the honoree she's about to toast.
Well, good afternoon and good after morning, beloved community. What a joy it is to be here this afternoon, gathered in the spirit of liberation, truth-telling, and deep wisdom for the 5th annual Audre Lorde Wisdom Award. You know, as a Black woman of faith and a Black woman of trans experience, I'm especially honored to stand before you this afternoon to introduce someone whose life and ministry have lit the path for so many of us, especially those of us who have dared to walk in our faith while holding fast to our truth. We exist, okay? We exist. This afternoon, Bear the Torch honoree is not just a leader. She's a movement in motion, a fierce spiritual guide, a relentless advocate, a truth teller, and most importantly, a mother to many of us in the work. Reverend Dr. Deborah Hopkins, okay? Come on, somebody. Mother has not only answered the call of ministry, but she has also answered the cries of our community, especially those who are most often forgotten, the transgender and non-binary siblings navigating homelessness, displacement, and rejection. Through her organization, There's Still Hope, Dr. Hopkins extends more than just resources. She offers refuge. She offers mentorship. She offers belief in the future for those who have been told there is none. Her digital ministry, Essentials for Life, reaches across zip codes and borders to affirm what we already know to be true, that our identities, Black, brown, transgender, non-binary, queer, are not barriers to the divinity or to the divine, but a reflection of it. She reminds us that the divine, our God, the creator, is still speaking, and sometimes she sounds like us. Dr. Hopkins' memoir, Not Until You Have Walked in My Shoes, invites us into her sacred journey, a journey of becoming, of wrestling, of healing. Her story, featured in the documentary proper pronouns breaks open the silence that too often sounds like transgender all across this world. Whether you're clergy, whether you're laity, whether you're just part of the community that affirms every voice that belongs not only in the pulpit, but in these streets called life. There is also a policy making table that she sits at, that she is a fierce advocate for the change that we as a community of the transgender community wants to see in this world. And let's not forget, she was one of the front line in the fight to repeal House Bill 2 in North Carolina, which was one of the most harmful laws targeting our people. Her advocacy helped shift and tide and towards justice, dismantle systems, and to erase those discriminatory actions that those conservatives, lack of education, do not understand as it relates to all humanity. Reverend Dr. Hopkins, from one transgender minister to another, I want you to know you are a torchbearer. You are what hope looks like in this season, in the hands of the divine. What fate looks like in the flesh. You have turned your survival into someone's sanctuary. So this joyous afternoon, we honor your labor, your legacy, and your tremendous light. So please join me in celebrating the 2025 Bear the Torch honoree of the Audre Lorde Wisdom Award, the Reverend Dr. Deborah Hopkins.
Oh my goodness. My dear friend, oh, bless you, bless you, bless you. Thank you for such a warm introduction, a warm welcome. Preachers don't know. Preachers are not usually lost for words, but right now I'm lost for words. That was truly a beautiful and warm welcome, and I want to thank you for it. Oh, bless your heart. May you continue to do the work that our Creator has called you to do, to open paths, open doors, and give guidance and strength to those who are seeking the hope and love of a true tomorrow. Amen. Oh, goodness. I'm warmed up now. I'm warming up, y'all. Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, my goodness. First and foremost, I give all honor and praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I am truly, truly honored and profoundly humbled to be one of this year's recipients of the 2025 Audre Lorde Wisdom Award. I gotta say, words cannot fully express how grateful I am for this moment. It's more than a personal milestone. It's a shared victory, a celebration of our collective struggles, our unwavering commitment to justice, and the vision we carry forward together. This award is a reminder of the strength found in community, the endurance born of resilience, and the healing that flows from love, courage, and truth. To Dr. David Johns, my dear friend and sister, Victoria Kirby York, and the National Black Justice Collective and its entire group of committee workers, thank you from the bottom of my heart. To my incredible team, my loving family, my faithful mentors, Essentials for Life Ministries, and of course, There's Still Hope of the Carolinas. I am so, so grateful. Your belief in me, your encouragement, your unwavering support have carried me through this very long and tedious journey. This moment belongs to all of us. To the selection committee, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. This honor affirms the work and fuels the fire to keep going forward. To my fellow nominees and to change makers across the nation, I say this with conviction. The fight for LGBTQ plus rights is not over. As citizens of the kingdom, We are not called to silence. We are called to action. Justice is not optional. It is a sacred responsibility. The scriptures remind us, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. You'll find it in Proverbs 31. Do what is just and right. Rescue from the hand of the oppressor, the one who has been robbed. Jeremiah 22:3 will remind you of that. Friends, when we see injustice, we must act, because even now, too many of our siblings still face discrimination in jobs, in housing, in healthcare, and in daily life. This work is urgent. This work is sacred, because every person deserves equal rights, equal opportunity, and equal dignity, no matter who they love or how they identify. For me, this award is more than a recognition. It's a call to keep going. It stands for our shared purpose, our shared passion, and our shared progress. So, from the depths of my heart, I say again, thank you. I am honored and I am humbled to be among such powerful, inspiring voices. So let me close with this. May our divine Creator continue to bless you all as you walk forward in truth, in love, and in justice. Thank you again. God bless you.
Thank you. And you better preach, preacher. Come on now. Y'all thought y'all were coming to an award show and y'all leaving with some good words and some good scripture from the good book. Thank you so much, Reverend Hopkins, both for your remarks and also for all of the work that you have done. We were very intentional with this year's cohort. We wanted to honor folks who have contributed nationally and have also really dug down deep in their local communities and helping to create space for all of us to live our truths authentically and the ability to thrive. And that is definitely true for the honoree you all just heard from, and also the honoree that you will hear from shortly. I had the opportunity to meet Reverend Deborah Hopkins during the fight to stop, and then to repeal HB2. And the powerful work that she's been doing amongst the homeless community in Charlotte has just been a real powerful testimony. So thank you so much for your remarks. Our next torchbearer is a member of our Good Trouble network of Black LGBTQ+ and same gender loving elected officials, and also serves as the mayor, one of the few Black openly lesbian mayors in this country. So I wanted to make sure I didn't leave that important note out. She is the mayor of El Cerrito, California, Carolyn Weisinger.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carolyn Weisinger. I am the mayor of the city of El Cerrito, all the way in California, which is amazing that I get to bear the torch for an amazing leader in the New York area, Pat Martin, who is the CEO of Harlem Yes. Harlem Yes is a community-based organization that works to identify and serve marginalized community. Pat has specialized all of her life in building community and organizations that service not just youth, but seniors, but Black LGBTQ community, making sure that those communities are highlighted in spaces where they wouldn't normally be. I actually came to meet Pat when I visited New York for the Black Lesbian Conference, which was an amazing conference where Black lesbians were able to get together, to network, and just talk about the things that we were doing to highlight Black lesbians in our community. Since that time of meeting Pat, she has embraced me as a part of the New York LGBTQ community in the organization that she created, or the online space called Masculine Identified Women of Color. And I'm so proud to be a part of that collective, not just because it keeps me connected to my family and community members on the East Coast, but because it's one that's important, centering masculine of center lesbian women. And as a mass-centered person myself, I understand the deep challenges it is keeping us all connected, making sure that we are seen and centered in any space that we are in. Usually when masked women are in the room, when Black masked women are in the room, there's probably only one or two of us. It's very rare that we get to see each other and embrace each other. And it's also an opportunity to build intergenerational relationships, which I have come to know to be very, very important. And I can't say enough about what Pat has done to make sure that we are building that network of communication between generations for Black mask identified individuals. So I want to take this opportunity to lift the glass to Pat Martin, to the work that she has done. It is a testament to the true worth of building your life serving this community. Cheers to you, Pat Martin.
Thank you, Carolyn. I was getting ready to say, is she talking about me or is that a stranger? But God bless you and welcome. I'd like to give honor and all the glory to God, the God that I serve, for using me. As Carolyn said, my name is Pat Martin, and I humbly come before you as the great-granddaughter of Lula Martin, granddaughter of Jessie Mae Hunter, and daughter of Carrie Martin. I'm the product of a village of proud Black and strong women. Good afternoon, all. Dr. Johns, Victoria, National Black Justice Coalition, AARP, I thank you for recognizing the work of my team, the work that my team and I do in the community. And a special shout out to my wife, Paulette, for always standing by my side and propping me up. Congratulations to my co-honorees, both present and past. I thank you for your strong shoulders and your contribution towards making this world we live in a better place. It is with great humility that I accept this award today. This award, the Audre Lorde Wisdom Award, is named for an icon in the LGBTQ plus community. On this ancestor's shoulders and the many other workers in the vineyard, I proudly stand upon them. Today, I come before you as a proud Black lesbian masked woman filled with emotion, filled with anger at a system and at those who dare to look at and judge another person, judging, mocking, and sometimes humiliating another because of the color of their skin and who they love. As a community, as a people, we will always stand against those who choose to discriminate against those of us who choose to feel good about living and walking in our truth, living as our authentic self. As I said, I'm a proud Black masculine of center lesbian woman, filled with love for and sharing a kinship with those folks who are sick and tired of feeling like we are marginalized, ostracized, and fighting for acceptance because we choose to live as our authentic self. Now, who's Harlem Yes and masculine identified lesbians of color? We advocate for positive representation and acceptance of our Black and brown LGBTQ plus communities. We provide safe spaces where we host intergenerational events and platforms for authentic self expression. We believe in collaborating with like-minded organizations and folks such as Victoria and the National Black Justice Coalition. And of course, our Mayor, Carolyn, we are so proud of you. And folks, we are convinced that through collective actions, we will achieve change and create a safe environment that will host and create a shift in how the LGBTQ plus community is perceived and treated. More importantly, we advocate about how we view ourselves, how we love ourselves and each other as authentic LGBTQ plus loving women. Our workshops are specifically targeted for the experiences and needs of Black and Brown individuals within the LGBTQ plus spectrum. We provide safe spaces of acceptance and inclusion, a space where all individuals can feel comfortable being their authentic selves, regardless of age or gender identity. The workshops, forums, conventions, and events we host are intergenerational and promote engagement. Conversations are designed to bring together people of different ages and backgrounds, where together we share experiences and perspectives. As an individual and the head of Masculine Identified Lesbians of Color Collective, I am committed to advocating for visibility, the rights of Black and Brown LGBTQ plus individuals to be seen, heard, and respected in society. I strongly advocate for collective power and recognition for our right to exist. As a proud and determined Black masculine of center lesbian woman of a certain age who is out and proud, I will always stand firmly and grounded in the belief that united and focused actions combined with community solidarity, we can and will bring about meaningful change. Clothes belong in the closet, not people. So as a people, as a country, we are stronger together. And that's the way we need to present. We need to present as out and proud. Don't let anybody tell you that because of who you love, that you should not exist. Once again, I thank you, Dr. John, Victoria, the National Black Justice Coalition, the LGBTQ community whose shoulders that I stand upon, and members of all communities and our allies. I humbly thank you from my heart.
We thank you as well. Y'all, just a couple goals, y'all. If you need some inspiration, read Google. I'm telling you, people say Google Pat Martin and her wife. Their love story, it just it'll set the rest of your day in the right direction. I know this award ceremony is already doing that for y'all, but I'm gonna add, if you check out their story, and there are plenty of different interviews they've given over the years. If you feel like it's too late for you to find love, you will learn from them that it is never, never, ever too late. Thank you so much for your remarks, the legacy that you've built and continue to build in Harlem. Let me know when Pat's doing the next thing. So thank you so much for that and more. So our next torch bearer is someone I'm excited to introduce. I consider her a sister friend, Alexis Pauline Gumbs, who is the author of Survival is a Promise, The Eternal Life of Audre Lorde, which is available wherever books are sold. She is going to provide a toast to an honoree whose work literally paved the way for NBJC to exist today. So with that, take it away, Alexis.
Congratulations, Michelle Parkerson, on your Audre Lorde Wisdom Award. It is very appropriate that Michelle Parkerson is a recipient of an Audre Lorde Wisdom Award because Audre Lorde loves Michelle Parkerson. A few years ago, when I interviewed Michelle Parkerson for my biography, Survival is a Promise, The Eternal Life of Audre Lorde, Michelle did what she always does as one of the signal filmmakers and storytellers of the Black feminist tradition. She set the scene. Journey with me. It is the early 1980s. Black gay visionaries are dying one after the other from HIV/AIDS. The Black lesbian and gay community that Michelle Parkerson is central to in Washington, D.C., is reeling from HIV-related deaths and gay bashing in the streets. Meanwhile, our protagonist, the artist Michelle Parkerson, is moping around her basement apartment, bewildered about how to celebrate her 30th birthday in such circumstances as this. The doorbell rings. Who could it possibly be? She's not invited anyone over. Close up on Michelle Parkerson's face in utter confusion. Next frame, we follow Michelle to the inside of her own doorway. The camera looks over her shoulder. We are as curious as she is. And then she opens the door and we see a woman who Michelle Parkerson admires deeply, but certainly has not given her address. Audre Lorde. This birthday surprise miracle happened many years before Michelle Parkerson collaborated with Ada Gay Griffin to become the first storytellers of the breadth and impact of Audre Lorde's life with their 1995 film, A Litany for Survival. And Audre Lorde could already see what we all see now. Michelle, you have dedicated your sharp eyes and your open heart to the stories of Black women, especially Black lesbians. You have documented our histories through films such as But Then She's Betty Carter in 1980, Gotta Make This Journey, Sweet Honey in the Rock, 1983, and Stormy Lady of the Jewel Box in 1987. And then, after a decade almost in production, the aforementioned A Litany for Survival in 1995. And through your poetry and through your short stories, I'm especially thinking of your collection Waiting Rooms. And you've already documented our future with imaginative films like Odds and Ends, which takes us all the way to 2096. Possibly even more impactful than your prolific artistic production has been your constant presence as a mentor, a teacher, and a generous inspiration to generations of artists seeking to practice our love for our communities. I know that, Michelle, you've already been a Rockefeller Fellow and received the Mayor's Award, a Pioneer Award, so many awards and honors, more than I can name with the time I have left. But I would venture to say that this Audre Lorde Wisdom Award is supremely special and, like I said, appropriate, because you, Michelle, are one of the key reasons we have Audre Lorde's wisdom with us today. And we don't have to guess or wonder whether Audre Lorde would be screaming, clapping, and stomping with joy at this well-deserved honor for your decades of contributing love and inspiration to our community. We already know. Hey, Michelle, there's someone at the door. And cut. Congratulations again. So happy to celebrate this Audre Lorde Wisdom Award for you, Michelle.
Thank you, Alexis Pauline Gums, for that incredible, first of all, scenario. The movie was great. It's a must-see. It's a must-repeat. And I am honored in this moment by the comments she just made. I am honored in this moment to be very transparent with everyone here watching, listening, to be watching later, etc. I'm coming to you in my full visibility. I'm having dental surgery, so you're going to see the unbeautiful mouth. But I didn't want to wear my mask, which is something I live and work in all the time to keep moving and keep my vanity behind me. But we're talking about the visibility that was so important to why all of our lives, all of us tonight and this afternoon streaming about the importance, the power behind coming, as many of my honoree sisters have said here, coming in your own authenticity. So I present before you, I tried to slash on a little lipstick to make it look and I want to thank the NBJC for all that you do, all that you have done. For instance, having a major screening of Dee Reese's Pariah when it premiered as a feature film. These kinds of visibilities of the organization itself, incredible. I want to thank the AARP for its support. I want to thank all of the sisters who have preceded me and who are with me in my own cohort of Audre Lorde Wisdom Award winners. We're here because, as Audre said, we were never meant to survive. Think on it. We are here because you were here, because she was here, because all of us are coming together with our children, our children's children, ahead of us to present a future that we own, that is in our name, in our gayness, in our Blackness, as equally important parts of our being. So no matter what your work is, as Audre would always say, are you doing your work? No matter what your work is, your mode of expression, your gift, your power, your anger, your weaponry, use it toward the activism that Audre Lorde exemplified in her lives and continues intergenerationally and generationally into the 21st, 22nd, 23rd centuries. We're here because, again, I say not stand on the shoulders of, but because of so many pains, jailings, deaths, books, movies made, teachers who taught us, family who rejected us and gave us the impetus to move forward even more with what we know was our true selves. And of course, God, Goddess, as the source of all of this, of all of us. We were never meant to survive. If you just want to be arrogant, stay alive and do your work. That is a victory unto itself. That we have a moment like this is a weapon unto itself. So be aware that in you is the God, Goddess, Black lesbian goddess, who put us here in this moment, in this time, as who we are, tooth or toothless, to prepare the world for the power, to show the world how wide we are as a community, as beautiful, as loving, as gender loving, same gender loving, whatever your call, whatever your identity. The Black LGBTQ plus community bears me up on this. The wonderful women who have allowed me to make short documentaries, long documentaries on them, who have been part of our history and community. Y'all better hear it. Y'all better hear the sisters who just spoke, the honorees of the current 2025 Audre Lorde Award, Wisdom Award, and the sisters coming down the rest of this program. Hear that we are here because we are here and you are here. And somebody made this moment on purpose, made you on purpose doing what you do. So I offer everyone at this moment peace, love, great thanks, and provocation when you can. Thank you, NVJC, for the Audre Lorde Wisdom Award.
Thank you. Thank you for those empowering and inspirational words, for your showing of authenticity. I'm also a person who masks mostly in public, and it is hard. Sometimes the transition from that day-to-day lived experience, but whether the mask on or the mask is off, your spirit and you as a human are beautiful and radiant, and the folks in the comments are backing me up. I hope you replay and see some of the love that's been coming your way throughout your remarks. I have to add that Michelle is one of the co-founders of the National Coalition of Black, Lesbian, and Gays. It was one of the national co-chairs. It was the first national organization dedicated to Black LGBTQ plus and same gender loving people. And so when I say, all these many decades later, NBJC exists today because of the work that you and so many others paved in the 70s, in the 80s, through now. It is word, right? So thank you so much. I have so much a great appreciation for you. Our next
nearby.
Yes, look, mine's on the table too. Not close enough to grab.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you. And I believe I saw you. We had a ribbon cutting for one of our past Wisdom Award honorees.
That's
Dr.
right.
Imani Woody. I thought it was you. I realized
That's
it afterward.
right.
I was like, I think that was Michelle who we're about to honor.
Yes, Mary's House for Older Adults.
Yes.
That just opened and has residents now. It was a 12-year journey for Dr. Imani Woody, whose vision was to create housing, safe and loving communal housing for Black and Brown LGBTQ plus people in our own neighborhoods here in Washington, D.C. And it came to fruition last week with the ribbon cutting. Thank you. Thank you for saying that out loud, Victoria. Sorry I didn't say hello.
No worries. I realized it too late. I was like, wait a minute. But it was another great testimony that it doesn't matter how old you are, the contributions folks are making continue to be life-changing. I had the chance to meet with some of those residents, and the fact that Mary's House exists was transformative for them. So yeah, our honorees continue to do the work and to rest as well. So thank you. So our next torchbearer is a sister who's been in this work with me since very early beginnings of my own journey, working with Black LGBTQ plus and same gender loving communities 20 years ago. And that is Samantha Master, who is a Black queer feminist activist and a trainer at the prestigious Midwest Academy. Take it away, Samantha.
Dr. Rue, I met you when I was a 20-year-old fiery activist, and Meeting you and knowing about the immense contributions that you have made, not only to Black history, LGBTQ history, women's history, but to our collective understanding of what is possible, is so inspiring. You helped to chart a path for me. And 17 years later, for me as a 37-year-old organizer who still bears so much of what you have learned, I am so grateful for all that you have contributed to our collective history and the world that we will leave our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I want to thank you for all that you have accomplished, but also all of who you are. You have shown what it is like to stand up in your dignity, to know that we are holy beings, to know that as Black folks, we have always been queer. We have always been here. We have always been on the front lines. And it is with great honor and great reverence that I am so excited to offer you your flowers in this moment. And so I hope you know how loved you are. I hope you know how important you are to our understanding of ourselves. And I cannot wait to tell future generations about the beacon of light that you are, you have been, and that you continue to be. Thank you for all that you are.
Thank you so much, Samantha. You know, I've been a fan of yours since we met, and I do follow you. You don't know it, but you know, I see how you're doing. And I thought that was a wonderful tribute to me, which has made me feel very humble. Thank yous are in order. First, I want to thank 3 people closest to me who've been lifelong moral, intellectual, and irreplaceable friendship anchors for me. They are Keith Patterson, who took the place of my brother in my life, Renee Henderson, who is seamless in the fabric of my life, and Reverend Deborah Johnson, who always showed me the right thing to do and the best way to do it. I want to thank Keith Boykin for starting MBJC. I want to thank Reverend Cherise Scott, the founder of Sister Reach in Memphis, Tennessee, for her impeccable, tireless vision of a more just world. And I want to thank Bishop Yvette Flinder for her heart, her talent, her humor, and her spiritual foundations that have saved lives and made lives better. Now, the grand narrative of my life has been activism. Little by little, day by day, you make decisions that define a life. And when those decisions become your purpose, you lead your life with purpose. Activism became my life, and activism gave me my life. It gave me clarity, conviction, and commitment. In 1964, the civil rights movement was raging mainly in the South, and I lived in sleepy Pasadena, California, but I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to make it my mission to meet Dr. Martin Luther King. And I got the opportunity, and it changed my life. I was raised in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, a very segregated church. And the white Adventists were telling us that we were, as Black people, under the curse of Ham, destined for a segregated heaven. True story here. Every 10 years, we'd get a white Adventist come speak. And in the 50s, one came, and when the choir sat down, he got up and he said, "When I get to heaven, I'm going to find out where you people are and sit down and listen to you sing." And I read a book in my religious studies. I read a book called The Arrogance of Faith by Forrest G. Wood. And it tells the story of the belief of white Christians during the time of slavery, that they felt Jesus would be kind enough to place windows or holes in the walls of heaven so their slaves, so the white people were in heaven, their slaves could peek into heaven to check on their masters and see how they're doing. In the meantime, the Black Adventists and overall Black Christians were telling us we were going to hell for being gay. So I saw firsthand how homophobia in the Black church destroys and destroyed lives. And I wanted to do something about that. And I realized there was not a lot I could do to fight or address racism in Christianity, but I thought I might be able to challenge, take on, fight, and maybe land lethal blows to homophobia in the Black church. So Dr. D. Mossbacker and I created the award-winning film, All God's Children, addressing homophobia in the Black church. And I went on to work for the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Services Center, the Religious Coalition for Reproductive Choice, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, the California Freedom to Marry Coalition, and then I became the director of religious affairs for NBJC. My justice journey landed me in Oakland, California, where I was the executive assistant to Bishop Yvette Flunder. From there, I went, did this cover this up? From there, I went on to Sister Reach in Memphis to work as director of education and outreach. And the friends I have made along the way have given me untold riches and laughter, memories, and helped me with my lifelong quest to make homophobia in the Black church an artifact of archaeology and not an article of faith. Thank you so much for this wonderful honor.
Thank you for allowing us to have the privilege of honoring you. Yes, a round of applause. NBJC's foundation was formed on your shoulders as one of the very first staff members of our organization. And I, as a current staff member, want to say thank you for that. But also as the person of deep faith, thank you for all the ways that you have shown up. And not just as our former director of religious affairs, but the work on marriage equality in California and so many other tremendous movement shaking moments that you've made happen throughout your life. So thank you once again. Yes, and at this time, I don't get nervous too often, but I'm a tad bit nervous in this moment, and I'm going to be honest with you about why. I made a coordinator's decision with this year's program to provide torch-bearing remarks for two of our honorees who I know for a fact, for absolute fact, that the way I approach my work personally, and I know scores of many others who would have also done justice providing these remarks without their work, but more importantly, the way that they show up in the work, their presence. I have the honor to bear the torch for Miss Ruby Sales. And I'm going to try not to cry as I provide these remarks because I've not had the opportunity to tell her this in person. But I met Miss Sales when I was in graduate school at Howard University at an HBCU Inclusion Summit that NBJC co-led with HRC and what was then the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, now the National LGBTQ+ Task Force, that Spelman University really anchored and pulled forward. And Ms. Sales provided remarks as a part of the program, but also provided new commentary in this giant manual around LGBTQ inclusion that both of us had the privilege of having our work be a part of. And the story that she told, both from the panel and in this commentary, was about the long lineage of Black lesbians, particularly in the South. And as a Southerner, someone who grew up in Georgia for a little bit and mostly Florida, and whose roots are in Maryland and Delaware, which is below the Mason-Dixon line, which some folks forget sometimes. But the way she told our history was eye-opening. Because at the time when we were fighting for marriage equality, people quickly wanted to say that the Black community was anti-LGBTQ, right? And she was able to correct the record, right? She corrected the record that pre-McCarthyism and the Red Scare and targeting our leaders like Bayard Rustin by threatening to show evidence of their gay transgressions. The Black community was a place where all LGBTQ+ folks went, especially white LGBTQ+ folks, that our community was a place of safety because we weren't divided in that way. Everybody was focused on bettering the race. bettering the experiences for all Black people. And she told the stories of Lucy Diggs Slow and her partner, Mary P. Burrell. And of course, Lucy Diggs Slow is the very first president and a co-founder of the first sorority for African-American women, Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And as a person who went to Howard for undergrad and grad school, it blew my mind because no one talked about it. And so she had a way and continues to have a way of reminding us of our history, the strength and resilience that is woven within that history, and the long lineage of people. She respectfully says that, Audre Lorde is amazing, but did you know about these fierce Black lesbians that existed before her generation? And person after person, she dropped knowledge. And that's something that she has continued to do and continues to do. Just the other day, she dropped a Facebook post about freedom songs, and honoring Sweet Honey in the Rock, and talking about how critical they are to our movement's future. I could have spent this time with these remarks talking about the fact that she was given the key to the city of Selma because of her work with SNCC as a teenager, helping to register voters at a time when people were literally being murdered for doing so. People's houses were being burned for doing so. And yet, as a teenager, she had the courage and fortitude to get out there and do what needed to be done for our people, something she has not stopped doing, whether in the numerous articles and books she's written or the radio interviews that she regularly gives on Dr. Leon Wilmer's show on Sirius XM, whether it's the beautiful history-filled blog posts that she writes on her website, Spirit House. Mother Sales continues to inspire us, not just with the work that she did in the civil rights era, which is important and necessary work to continue to celebrate, but the work that she continues to do today to build up the upcoming generations, to give us a spine of steel to know, sit with your shoulders high. You come from a legacy of Black lesbians and Black same gender loving women who have blazed trails, created movements, often without recognition at all. So I just feel super honored to be able to recognize her today with an Audre Lorde Wisdom Award. Now, unfortunately, she's not able to be with us today. So I want to introduce Cheryl Blankenship, her longtime partner, companion on the journey, and a member of a household of elders that also includes Reverend Nancy Talbot, who will be accepting this award on her behalf. And I said, since I still haven't had a chance to tell you this in person, we're going to have to create and manifest another opportunity for us to exchange insight together in the future.
I am Cheryl, and I am pleased to read this statement from Ruby Sales. To the esteemed members of the National Black Justice Collective, and to my brilliant and dedicated sister siblings, the Audre Lorde Wisdom Awardees. Let me first each of you for your courage, commitment, and caring to preserve justice in such a moment as this. I share your commitment. I share your courage. And most of all, I feel your compassion. It is my deep honor to be a part of this gathering and to be considered worthy of receiving the Audre Lorde Wisdom Award by people whom I deeply respect and regard. It is for these reasons that I regret that my life circumstances of trying to move a house at 70+ years has landed me in arthritis hell and has resulted in my having to go to the chiropractor today. I would ask you to please charge my absence to my physical condition rather than to an ungrateful heart. When members of the National Black Justice Collective invited me to receive the Audre Lorde Wisdom Award, my heart flooded over with humility, but yet with great pride. It is the pride of a daughter who felt like she had done something that would please her mother. I met Audre when I was a graduate in graduate school at Princeton University. To me, Audre was always the mother, and I was always the rebellious daughter. Sometimes we found ourselves in a territory that could not be bridged between mothers and daughters. But Audre always reminded me that my generation need not relive my past in strength nor in confusion, nor care that their holy fires might destroy more than my failures. Despite that territory between us, Audre always encouraged my growth and mothered my audacity. You see, Audre always chuckled when she remembered how we met. My history professor at Princeton quipped in one of his lectures that Gwendolyn Brooks was the only living Black female poet. Immediately, he raised my ire because I had read Mari Evans, Sonia Sanchez, Jane Cortez, Nikki Giovanni, June Jordan, and Audre Lorde. With my "I'll show you" attitude, I went to find these women, to bring them to Princeton, to show my classmates and my professor how wrong they were, and to demand not only recognition, but respect for their work. I found Audre's address and I went to her New York apartment, but it was without warning. She did not expect me, and therefore she was not home. I left a note with my phone number. I never expected to hear from her, but I did. I brought her to Princeton, as well as June Jordan, Jane Cortez, and Kamako Baraka. My relationship with Audre grew from that day. I had the privilege of witnessing her courage to break the silence and to speak truth to no matter the consequences. I admired her fierceness. Today, as you honor her work by putting your unique patch on the quilt for justice and continue her work for justice, I hear Audre's pride in you, her deep Bayesian voice articulating her pleasure in the rhythms of her mother and father tongues, her slow and exact West Indian cadence, different from the rapid sounds of the new Black poets, Baraka, Sanchez, Lee, Giovanni, Jordan, and Rogers. Her poems are celebrations of the we-ness in all of us, high-spirited declarations of faith, the transformation of silence into faith. Audre taught by living. In fighting for her voice and her life, she pioneered territory that opened up the earth for all of us. Her terror of her own invisibility kept her brave. It gave her the courage to write, quote, "I am a Black woman, warrior, poet, lesbian, doing my work. Come to ask you, are you doing yours?" End quote. Her bravery was therefore not a metaphorical choice. It was an act of survival as well as a personal drive towards her own humanity. Audre's poems were footsteps to herself, prayers to Sebelisa, mother of power, keeper of birds, fat and beautiful, to not let her pass away before she had a name. Before she died, Audre spoke the fullness of her name. It was Pan-African woman, sister, daughter, lover, female, intellectual, lesbian poet. In searching for her name, Audre left the wilderness of America and crossed the same waters which had taken her mother to America, the country which would shatter Audre's identity into pieces, making her this or that, too black or white, not lesbian enough, or too much her own self. Alongside her lover, she renamed herself in the middle of a hurricane. It was Gambia Adisa. In naming the award after her and the work that you do to carry on her legacy, you make sure that Audre, our ancestor, will remain a part of the ages. As Audre's daughter, it is my pleasure to pass the baton and to leave you with Audre's last will and testament. Our skins are empty. They have been vacated by the spirits, who are angered by our reluctance to feed them. In baskets of straw made from sheep grass and the droppings of civets, they have been hidden away by our mothers, who are waiting for us by the river. My voice joins hers. My skin is tightening. Soon I shall shed it like a monitor lizard, like remembered comfort at the new moon's rising. I will eat the last sign of my weakness, remove the scars of the old childhood wars, and dare to enter the forest whistling like a snake that has fed the chameleon. For changes, I will be forever. May I never remember reasons for my spirit's safety. May I never forget the warning of my woman's flesh weeping at the new moon. May I never lose the terror that keeps me brave, and may I owe nothing that I cannot repay. For now, I am their mother, Audre's daughter, standing in the light of her words and the sound of her new name, Gambia Adisa. My feet standing between the earth and the riverside, asking that my feet do not shatter before my work is done. In their honor and sacred ancestral tenderings, I pray, when my journey is done and my work is all through, and when I have done all that I can do, take the hands of me, your faithful servant, and guide me to the riverbank, where Audre and the other mothers are waiting to unite me with the fathers and mothers, where we will join together in a heavenly chorus, singing and shouting. We're gonna rise up holy. We're gonna rise up sanctified in the morning when we rise. So I say at last to you, thank you, NBJC from Ruby Sales, for the Audre Lorde Wisdom Award.
You are very and more than welcome, Mother Sales. Can we breathe that in, y'all? Whew. Ashe. And amen. That was powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Ms. Sheriff Blankenship. I really appreciate you sharing her remarks and her thoughts. And I know there's so many jewels and gems dropped in that sharing that all of us will be carrying with us throughout our years. I know I saw Dr. John's drop in the comments the quote, "mothering my audacity." And that is the most perfect and concise way for me to describe what you have been to me. So thank you for that gifting of language, and thank you for the gifting of you. Your presence is felt here and throughout every space where folks were just listening to your words. Now, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our next torchbearer, Dr. C. Nicole Mason, who is not only another bad sister who's doing amazing things on the planet, but is the president and CEO of Future Forward Women, a legislative exchange and policy network committed to advancing progressive public policies. And baby, we need that more than ever today. Take it away, Dr. Mason.
Hello, Sonia, my dear, gorgeous, brilliant, and amazing friend. You've always been a visionary in your work and leadership, and I'm so glad to be a part of this wonderful tribute to you. I want to thank MBJC, an organization that has always centered the lives and experiences of Black queer folks in the most authentic way, for its choice to honor a true legend of and in the movement. From your work at the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, to the Anti-Violence Project, to the Australia Foundation, some of our foremost and cornerstone institutions, you have brought vision, joy, and a knowing, always a knowing that you can and will take the tiniest idea, organization, or cause and elevate it, making everyone pay attention to it. No organization is the same once you leave it. They are always ahead of the pack or leading it. And not for nothing, you've also raised more than $100 million for us to continue doing our great work. I also appreciate your willingness to say yes to me, MBJC, the American LGBTQ Museum, young queer leaders, your family, and your nieces and nephews whom you absolutely adore. Your heart is so big, and you're always down for whatever, as long as it aligns with your passions and core values and brings you joy. Many of you may not know this, but Sonia is also a beautiful writer. More than 20 years ago, she wrote Spiraling Out, a book of poetry and essays reflecting on her lifetime of queer activism, and at that time, her 10 years of loving women. It was and still is such a gift and a brave exercise in how to take up space in a world that does not always see or value you. It also gives others permission to do the same. Before I go, I want to share this one last anecdote. To know Sonia is to know this: everything in her words will always be fly and fabulous. A friend once saw Sonia descending a flight of subway stairs and was in absolute awe. She called me right away. She described Sonia as Diana Ross and mahogany, like you had a wind machine and the perfect lighting as you tipped to the platform's edge. She said she had to pause and reflect on her life and her fashion choices. We both laughed and agreed, yep, Sonia is just that fly, and you're that fly in everything you do. So take a deep bow, my friend, and stop working on the weekends, go on some dates, have some fun. You have earned this tribute and so much more. Congratulations to you and MBJC for doing all of the good work for all these years. Congratulations.
I am blown away. I am trying not to cry. To see Nicole on the screen just took my breath away. Hello, everyone. I am deeply honored to receive the Audre Lorde Wisdom Award amongst these phenomenal women To be recognized by the National Black Justice Collective, an organization I helped co-found more than 20 years ago, is a full circle moment that fills me with deep gratitude. Back in 2003, when Keith Boykin called me furious about how Black LGBTQ people were being treated at the National LGBTQ March, I didn't hesitate to get involved. At the time, I was the director of development at the New York City Anti-Violence Project, and I knew we had to act. I joined Keith, Mandy Carter, Jasmine Canick, Donna Payne, Maurice Franklin, Roderick Colvin, and Frank Leon Roberts. Together, we formed the National Black Justice Collective, and we announced it at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. It was urgent then, and it is far more urgent now. This is the first time I've ever been publicly honored, and I am very moved because for over 30 years in this work across LGBTQ and social spaces, I've often been asked to show up, build, and lead. And as a nonprofit professional, I've raised millions. I didn't know that number, but it's probably up there. It's about close to what Nicole said. And revamped organizations to strengthen social movements without my name being spoken on so many occasions. And I don't say this to complain, I say it to name a pattern in the nonprofit sector, a systemic truth. Black women, and especially Black queer women in the nonprofit sector, are too often erased, exploited, and discarded. We are asked to do the labor, to hold the weight, to drive the mission, and then we are silenced or sidelined when things get sticky or when credit is due. It's not personal, it's structural, and it must change if we're going to overcome the challenges we are navigating within nonprofit culture and governance to move beyond these turbulent times in this country. Now is not a time to retreat or scapegoat. It's a time to come together. It's a time to be strategic because there is too much at stake. Telling our stories is part of the work, even when it's uncomfortable. It's how we shift power. It's how we heal. It's how we build alliance. As the president of Shields Consulting 333, my work is rooted in social justice, racial equity, LGBTQ rights, and it shows up in everything I do. I also believe in working intergenerationally. I'm in community with people from their 20s to their 70s. I believe that impact is greatest when we bridge across generations, values, and lived experiences. And while it's beautiful to give us our flowers, many of us are still in our prime, still learning, still building, still leading. Some of us are just getting started. I am moving into a new chapter. Audre Lorde said, in our world, divide and conquer must become define and empower. That was in 1984, and I was a junior at Howard University, and today it still rings true. We must define ourselves and empower each other. We must reject division and performative justice and embrace real collaboration across social missions. We are not single issue people, and we never have been. We are powerful, we are beautiful, we are magical. We will not be erased. Let's work intergenerationally. Let's engage beyond the quiet. Let's go into rooms that don't get it. Let's build real alliances and keep growing because growth is sacred. And as elders, we are not finished. We are just evolving. Thank you, National Black Justice Collective. Thank you for all you do. Thank you to the AARP for your support. I am so deeply proud. As I said, this is my first award. I cannot wait to place it in my home, not just as a symbol of recognition, but as a reminder that our stories, our labor, our wisdom, they matter. Thank you so, so, so much. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Ms. Shields. That was beautiful and motivating. I've heard so many experiences like what you shared, and we have to disrupt it and dismantle it. So thank you for naming the thing and also walking in a way that allows us all these years later to be able to say how audacious, bold, and wise our co-founders are and continue to be. Thank you for putting down the building blocks of what NBJC has become and has been. We would not literally be here without you, the forethought and intention that you put behind the organization, and I am sure the fundraising prowess. And mission strengthening and alignment.
You're taking me back.
So thank you so much. And you see the love coming in from the
I see Karma. I see her. I'm like, wow.
Take it all in, because this might be the first award, but it surely will not be the last.
Well, I appreciate it so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
Yes,
you.
you're
I'm all locked in, and you rebooted my commitment to the organization, so I'm down to get involved.
Yes. Well, I will be in touch. Our next torchbearer is the Reverend Naomi Washington Lee Park, who is an educator and theologian, currently serving as the Strategic Partnerships Director at the Political Research Associates, also known as PRA, and someone who has demonstrated it with her faith and with her action a lot of similar traits as the honoree she's about to introduce.
I'm Reverend Naomi Washington Lee Part, and I had the good pleasure of first meeting Reverend Senator Pat Spearman at a gathering for the Fellowship of Affirming Ministries. We both hang out with TFAM for short, and I got to know Reverend Senator Pat to be an extraordinary leader. Reverend Senator Pat's whole life has been one of service. She is a groundbreaking figure, the first openly lesbian member of the Nevada legislature, elected in 2012. She is known for her strong advocacy for LGBTQ+ rights and social justice, and she has introduced significant legislation to achieve equal pay for women, to support veterans, to kick off the modern fight to make the Equal Rights Amendment, the 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. She's modeled compassionate moral leadership in the military as well. And that's not simply because of her talent or her intellect or her ambition or her work ethic, although those things matter. I think she's also excellent in her service in all fronts because she refuses to pretend. What you see is what you get. Whether you're engaging Reverend Senator as she stands in a pulpit or on the floor of the legislature, in a world where lies are regarded as truth, she boldly risks authenticity. In her service, in her advocacy, in her prophetic spiritual witness, she is sincere. I'll never forget a conversation that Reverend Senator Pat and I had about the difference she thought I could make as an elected official. She came up to me and just started pouring into me, encouraging me, affirming me, seeing me, for real, seeing me. She is able to cast visions not only for her own life, but for the lives of those she loves, the lives of those around her. She's able to discern where and how to leverage power and lived experience for the greater good of those who are most vulnerable. Finally, I'll say most of all, I am inspired by Reverend Dr. Colonel Senator Pat's deep humility. Given all of her accomplishments, right, which cannot even be contained by her bio, you would think that she would move with a cockiness, with an arrogance, with a self-righteousness, but no, she is humble and she is always open to learning and transforming anew. Congratulations, Reverend Senator Pat. I'm so glad to know you, and I'm so grateful for your contributions, ongoing contributions to this world.
Wow. I I'm speechless. I am speechless. This is thank you, Reverend Naomi. I just, you never know who's watching, and thank you. I just, golly, I'm speechless. I'm taking up too much time saying I'm speechless when I'm supposed to be speaking. But wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I certainly appreciate it, and I appreciate the work that you're doing in the elected, post-elected, and previous elected, and all of those spaces that you're walking in right now. Because know that you are making a difference as an appointee. I love the work that you're doing, and I love you, my sister. I want to say thank you to everybody who has participated in this process, and want to thank special thanks to Bishop Flunder, Yvette Flunder, who took me in when I needed a place to live out my calling and to live out my truth simultaneously. Thanking so many more, my mother, my father, my grandfather, my grandmother, all of my siblings, including those who have joined our ancestors, my sister Janetta, who left us in 2016, my brother Michael, who left us in 2021, my sister Donna, who departed November 24th of last year, and my son Neante, who departed this life much too early at 23, the 27th of March this year. I'd like to say thank you to my entire family, siblings, nieces, nephews, and my family by love. I want to say a special thanks to Doretha Williams Flournoy, who is my fiance, for standing with me in difficult times, and who herself has made great contributions to this justice work, many times, unfortunately, without the recognition she so rightfully deserves. I love and respect teachers, clergy, especially women who showed me how to persevere with courage and diplomacy. I started my ministry in 1961. And someone reminded me the other day that, oh my God, it's more than 60 years. So I want to say thank you to Doretha. They asked us about, what pearls of wisdom we'd like to leave. And so let me just say this. I have adopted the motto, when I'm looking for a yes, no is never the right answer. Some people get no and they say, oh, okay, well, it's no, no, no. When you're looking for a yes and you know the yes will help someone, you keep knocking at the door, you keep pushing, you keep doing whatever you need to do to make sure that the way will be made for those who are less fortunate. I am who I am and where I am, and I speak up the way that I do because I must carry the voices of those for whom no one else is listening. Always walk in your truth with courage and conviction. God expanded my ministry in 2012 from local pastor to state senator. And I served in the Nevada State Senate for 12 years from 2012 to 2024. In 2022, I was appointed President pro tempore of the Nevada State Senate. That seems like just an ordinary appointment, but my appointment came from the first woman majority leader, and I became the first woman to hold that title. I'm also the first Black woman. I'm the first same-gender loving woman to hold that title. And all three of those, all of me, became third in line to succeed the governor. So every time I mounted the podium to lead the Senate session, all of me came into the room making history for all of those coming behind me. I want to say you have to look to see what needs to be done. Look to see what needs to be done. My grandmother used to say, if you see something that needs to be done, God is showing it to you because you're the one that's supposed to do it. So look to see what needs to be done and do it. Remember, we're on assignment every day of our lives. We need more justice warriors in the elected positions, and that's what Reverend Naomi was saying, and we need them in elected positions from the school board, because if you've been watching what's happening, it's the school board where they're trying to lay the foundation to erase people. They're trying to lay the foundation to make people like us illegal. It's where they're laying the foundation to do away with books that tell our history. It's at the school board. Then you got to go to city council, because city council is the place where all of the laws are made in terms of where houses can be built, where the liquor stores will be. All of the zoning requirements are there at city council. Then at county commission, that's where everything inside your county, that's where all of the laws and the statutes are created. Then we've got to make sure we've got people in state legislatures across this country. We need elected officials at every level of government, from the White House and every other level government entity in between. So think about that. All of my honorees, what you're doing, and my challenge is going to be to my sisters, look and see what else you can do as an elected official, particularly in times like this, when our voices have got to become not only powerful, but we have got to multiply those voices in a way that says to people, I'm here, so deal with it. A short story. I was invited to speak somewhere, and I guess a couple of people that were there didn't know what I looked like. And I walked in, and I was looking for my seat to sit down, and a gentleman came up to me, and he said, I said, yes. I said, yes, what? He said, you're that lesbian that's in the, I said, and? He said, well, you know, I think that your presence here is making some people uncomfortable. I said, oh, really? He said, yes. So, you know, I said, so that means that one of us should leave, huh? And he said, yeah, it's making me pretty uncomfortable. And I looked him straight in the eye, pulled up a chair, sat down, and I said, well, I just sat down. Guess who's got to leave? That's the kind of boldness and audaciousness that we have got to bring into the arena where people are trying to pass laws that erase us. In 2017, about 45 years after the Equal Rights Amendment was stopped by some white woman. And oh, by the way, when the Equal Rights Amendment was first introduced in 1920, Black women were not even included. And we were not included because they were afraid that including Black women would stall the process. So in 1972, some white women said no. But in 2017, I, along with my colleagues in the Nevada State Legislature, restarted the process, and we got it across the finish line. Nevada was number 36. Illinois was number 37. And Virginia was the 38th state to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. And now it is the 28th Amendment in the US Constitution. A Black, same gender loving woman got the ERA restarted. That is not a testament to me. I say that because it doesn't matter what they call you. It only matters what you answer to. But they can never take that away out of history. I showed up because I saw something that needed to be done, and I decided to do it. My military career spanned almost 3 decades. And while I was in the military, I was in the closet. I heard one of the honorees say earlier that clothes belong in the closet, not people. And that's true. But I was in the closet because I was trying to protect a career that I loved. I loved being in the military. And I would have served 40 years had I not been injured. But during one of my medical examinations, I'd gotten orders to go to a UN assignment. I mean, and I was excited. I was ecstatic. I'm on a UN assignment, and where I really wanted to go, I was going to be the senior military liaison for the peacekeeping mission between Eritrea and Ethiopia. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't gone to heaven. I haven't died, but I'm sure I'm going to heaven already. And during the medical examination process, we discovered that I had injured my right hand, my from my elbow down to my fingertips. And the doctor said, Colonel, this is your shooting hand. You're a military police officer, and you got to be able to shoot. And I said, well, are you in assignment? We don't even carry guns. He said, yeah, but if something pops, you got to be able to shoot. I said, well, I might not be able to do that with a 45. I might not be able to do that with a 9mm, but I can still fire an M16. So let me go. Let me go. And he said, Colonel, you got almost 30 years in. Go home. Go home and enjoy your retirement. Go home. And I said, I don't want to go home. He said, but go home, because I'm not going to pass you because of this injury. And not only would it complicate things for you, but it might put someone else's life in jeopardy because you won't be able to do your job the way you want to. But I look back over those almost 30 years, and I was able to quietly mentor other members of the LGBTQ community so that they could serve our country. And I worked with in 2010, I worked with Senator Harry Reid, who was then the US Senate Majority Leader, to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And in the Senate, my very first bill that I carried, the very first piece of legislation, and I was honored to be asked to carry it and honored to carry it. I carried the bill that added our transgender family members and put them in the protected class in our state statutes. That's important because particularly during these particular times when at the federal level, they're trying to criminalize their existence in the state of Nevada, states' rights prevail. And so if you're being haunted and hunted in someplace else and you need protection under the hate crimes bill, come on to Nevada. We got you. We got your back. I was also able to carry the bill that put equal pay for equal work into our state law. And I've been told that that's probably one of the toughest statutes that we have, because it not only gives people a right to go to the Nevada Equal Rights Commission, but instead of the companies being able to wait the person out 2 years, in the bill, I hid in there that every time someone in that company receives a paycheck, the clock starts again. So there's no way that the dishonest company can outlive the person who is filing the complaint. So they have to come to the table and negotiate. I was also honored, and I did this as a result of my own personal experience as a child. I remember we were on, I used to call it food stamps. I think it's called SNAP now, but we were on food stamps. And I learned something when we were receiving social services, not because we wanted to, but we had to. It was giving us a hand up, not a hand out. But I remember, the people that were living in the projects with us, you'd get the check on Monday. And this is before we had ATMs and that sort of thing. And people's money, all the money was gone 3 days later. And I would hear people say, well, they don't even know how to budget their money. All the money's gone. Well, you got cash. You can't have a bank account. What you going to do? So you figure out what you got to pay and you pay it. And I would see some of the big mamas, and my mother too, who would fold up money and put it in different places so they could hide it and then go for it when we need it. But we couldn't have a bank account. And so the system wasn't designed to get you off of welfare. It was designed to keep you permanently dependent upon welfare. And I said, okay, I'm in a position now to where I might be able to do something to fix that. And so I carried the bill that now allows children in foster care and those receiving social services to establish an individual development account, an IDA. And I did it that way because I wanted to make sure that their benefits, their federal and state benefits, would not be encumbered by that savings account. And so we set it up with the state treasurer's office. And since it's not theirs until they pull it out, their federal and state benefits cannot be reduced. I'm really proud of what we did with the foster care system, because we've got so many children who are in foster care, and unless they are adopted by a family, by the time they reach 18, at 12:01 and 18, they're out of the system. And for those who have not had a family that would take them in, they are turned loose on the street to try to figure out what are they going to do. And I found out that in Nevada, particularly in Las Vegas, the group that is at highest risk for human trafficking are children in foster care. And so that IDA, establishing that allows them, allows their foster parents, allows anyone who wants to contribute to that individual development account so that when they age out 1201, when they age out on their 18th birthday, they have a financial safety net. And we also have partnered with Tiffany Haddish and the She Ready Foundation, and they're having a big prom event this evening, and they're going to be raising money for children in foster care. And I say that because it's the least, the lost, and the left behind that I really believe that's why God expanded my ministry. So those who are on social services can save to make a down payment on a home, to start a small business, or to pay off their debts without losing any of their state or federal benefits. And by the way, this program is the only program of its kind in the United States. It is the only one of its kind in the United States. I'm saying that because that's a challenge to everyone who's listening. Please talk to your legislators. And if they need to call me to find out how we did it, please ask them to call me, because this is something that for our people, we can help them make a step up and a step out of dependency, because the programs that are established aren't designed to do that. I was also fortunate to author a bill that provided mental and emotional assistance for young people who have experienced adverse childhood experiences, or ACE. And I did that by saying in the school systems, we've got to have people who are trained to recognize that I'm not saying you got to do anything about it, but you need to be able to recognize depression, recognize suicide ideation. If you see a student who's always been happy-go-lucky and always talking and that sort of thing, if they're going through the lunch line or in the hallway, and you happen to be someone and you see all of a sudden that student's countenance has changed, then being trained in that says you can now go to the counselor, or you can go to the assistant principal. You got to go to somebody and say, something's not quite right, and I don't know what's going on, but maybe you want to talk to this student, because we want to make sure that we save their life. Also fortunate enough to pass the voting protection statutes in Nevada, and that was critical, especially in 2020, before the elections, when the people on the other side of the aisle were trying to make like it was something, it was a special thing we were trying to do to protect the voting rights. And I gave them this story. In my family, I am only third generation free. I was asked what generation free I was when I was in Uganda, and I'd never thought about it before, but I'm only third generation free. My grandmother, who was born in 1888, was first generation, barely free. My father was second generation, born free. But I am the first generation, not only born free, but born with the expectation that I would have a right to vote simply because I am an American citizen. So, what else would I like to say? I'd say to people, do the work, because the work has to be done. Everything that I've started, and I don't know if I've got another day, another year, another month, another 10 years. I don't know how long I have. But here's the thing that I know. We have an assignment every day of our lives. And I'm doing all that I can do. I need you to do all that you can do. Dr. King phrased it like this, and I'll kind of paraphrase. We're all caught in an inescapable web of mutuality. I can never be all of who I need to be until you become all of who you need to be. So I'm counting on you, every one of you. I'm counting on you to finish the work. Finish the work. Thank you, National Black Justice Collective, for all the work that you do. This honor is very humbling. I don't take it lightly, and I will try to make sure I live the rest of my days becoming worthy of the honor that you have bestowed upon me. Thank you, everyone. To God be the glory. Amen and Ashe.
Amen and Ashe. Thank you so much, Senator Pastor Spearman. Grateful for your words and your challenge to do something and to finish it. right? I love that call to action. I'll carry that with me. And I also want to thank you for showing us that we don't have to pick one thing. You know, you can follow your call to ministry and serve in the military, right? And be an elected official who's historic and does what Mayor Weisinger is doing a series on, right? Governing and leading with the Black feminist lens. I feel like you have written the book on that and what you have put into practice.
And you know what? Let me say one other thing, because I forgot to include this, and I want to say this because it's history for someone else who's coming behind me. In September of 23, I had just gotten back from Brazil and got a call, and someone said, Governor Spearman. I said, no, this is Senator Spearman. No, Governor Spearman. I said, what are you talking about? And he said, the governor and the lieutenant governor are both out of the state and out of the country. And so you're now the acting governor. I said, what? And I walked over to the window in my house and I looked out the door and I see an unmarked car sitting in front of my house. And my phone rang again. And, it's some people in law enforcement. Governor, we've dispatched some people because of who you are. And you've got a lot of friends, but you also have a lot of enemies. Don't worry about it. We've got your back. And I'm like, wow. But it wasn't a wow for me. It was a wow because the first Black acting governor was a woman, a same gender loving woman. How about that? And so, I mean, it was only for like about 8 days, but still it happened. And I say that because I want other people to know when you answer the call to elected office, you never know where God is going to put you, that you can make a difference and make a difference that is historic. So I was like, wow. And that's something, I don't care what they do with the books. They can't erase that. They can't erase that. I'm walking in my truth, y'all.
Yes, correct the record. Make it plain. Yes, because I know from now on, that might be how I introduce you from now on in the future, the first Black same gender loving acting governor of any state in this country. Come on. Let's do that. I love that. First Black same gender loving person, period, right? So that's huge. That's huge. Well, thank you again. Now I have the privilege to take the second program director privilege that I've made for the program this year. And we've done this 5 years, and I don't do this or make this decision lightly. But Rosalind Taylor O'Neill is someone who, probably unbeknownst to her, also really reshaped what I thought was possible within the LGBTQ movement. I'll explain it by saying this. When I first got involved in the movement, it was through the International Federation of Black Prides and then with NBJC. And so my early getting to know the movement was in a safe Black space. Well, Donna Payne, who's the co-founder of NBJC, who is also working at the Human Rights Campaign, had built up this National Diversity and Inclusion Council that had all these like corporate senior vice presidents, executive vice presidents that were a part of the body. And I had been to a number of mainstream LGBTQ events at that particular year. 15 years ago, it was very white. There was not many of us. I could count on my 2 hands how many Black people I would see in some of these rooms. And so when I went into my first meeting, I assumed that was going to probably be the experience. Even though it's the Diversity and Inclusion Council, there's a lot of different ways that diversity manifests itself. My board service prior to that was at Howard University, where I was the first LGBTQ plus person to serve on that board. But, it's very Black space, right? So that had been my prior like board level or advisory kind of experience. And so when I walked in to the Human Rights Campaign for my first meeting, and I saw this brilliant, beautiful, tall Black woman with the kind of for Angela Davis, the fro that in my mind I can one day have, but in reality just ain't, genetically kinky possible. My hair just don't do that. But she was just this beautiful figure, and every time she opened her mouth, she said the thing that as a young person I was thinking, but because I was like 23, 24 at the time, did not yet have the confidence in that space to name or say. And watching her speak what was clearly the truth about what had to happen in order to change the racial dynamics in our movement. She named the charge. She said the way that our orgs are funded, the way donors are brought into the work, and where donors are brought into the work and recruited from, how organizations recruit for staff, and also people who attend these events. Like, she was throwing down like the gauntlet on, in an hour and a half or 3 hour meeting, every single thing that's like, okay, if y'all do this checklist, like, organization's gonna be good, right? And movement, because so much of movement followed after them, would also be changed too. And I just sat there, I contributed a little bit, but I sat there and just studied her, right? I took down a lot of notes, which I still have to this day, about the things that she said. And I am going to read her bio a little bit because it's instructive for where we find ourselves today. In a moment where diversity, equity, inclusion on the very first day of the current administration just has been dismantled from not just executive orders, but in budget cuts and positions that have been taking, programs that are now extinct, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion has become the boogeyman or bad word, even though it simply just means ensuring everybody's included, that everybody's welcome, that anybody, that folks have an access point into the goods and services and products and work that organizations and government agencies provide. And let me tell you, Ms. Rosalind Taylor O'Neill wrote the book, a few books, on how to get it done. I will name those 3 books because you too can have some of this knowledge that she dropped. The 7 Keys to Success, Unlocking the Passion for Diversity. Second book, The Power of Passion, Courage, and Faith, and Cat. And the 2 Societies Where One Drop Was More Than Enough. And her most recent book, 7 Keys to Success, A Leader's Guide to Unlocking Inclusion. Pick those up. But Rosalind Taylor O'Neill has been doing this work for nearly 50 years. I like to say she was when we talk about the Indian staple knot, she was the creative drive around so much of what we've seen today and took for granted in some ways until January 20th. Her nearly 50 years of experience promoting corporate environments, prioritizing equity and cultural understanding. She served as the former Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer at Campbell Soup Company, the Chief Diversity Inclusion Officer at MTV Networks, and was in a similar role at what is now called Hewlett Packard, the computer company. She implemented pioneering strategies that set benchmarks for inclusive practices in the corporate sector. So much of what corporations do today literally came from her brain, from her brilliance decades ago. And too often, as Ms. Sonia Shield shared earlier, the brilliance of Black women are completely erased. And folks take credit, they Christopher Columbus some of these concepts as if they were the originators without giving credit where credit is due. So in a year where diversity, equity, inclusion is in the news and being talked about in the halls of Congress much more than ever, we need to look back to our elders who created these original pathways, because there's a lot of genius in how we can talk about these issues better, how we can navigate these issues better, and how we can get our country back on the right track. It's important to note that she was named one of the most influential Blacks in corporate America, and all of corporate America, to be clear, a top executive in diversity, a 100 top executive in America. Just 100 spots, y'all. She had one of them. The top 100 most influential LGBT people, and the list goes on and on and on. I just named my favorite of the list, but as you look more into her work, you'll see that in business, she has created the trail, blazed the trail, and ensured that her footprints were put so deep in that sand that Black LGBTQ plus people and other marginalized folks have been able to follow behind her and create an industry and a sector that now has so many models and frameworks that were first built off of the deep brilliance of Miss Rosalind Taylor and O'Neill. I toast you and I'm grateful for all that you poured into me as a young person, whether you knew how much of an impact you've had on my life and career or not.
Thank you. I really thank you for that. No, I never know that I have made an impact on people. I always hope that I have. And so I truly appreciate it. You know, it's something I had not even thought I would hear. But thank you. And I thank you because I believe that our work is to move this work forward. I want to thank the National Black Justice Coalition and AARP for this. I received this honor. And, you know, Victoria, when you talked about honors that I've gotten, I tell people, I don't know most of them. I have no idea where I got them, why I got them, and I got a whole bunch of them. But this honor, I accept this honor with great joy and with the love that has really sustained me over these 50 years. It has been a long 50 years. People oftentimes ask me, how do you do this over and over and over, year after year, decade after decade? And I say to them, I love my work. I love the people that I've been fortunate enough to work with and for. I love the way in which my friends and my family and my spouse and my daughters and grandchildren and even my 3 dogs and my 3 cats live the work that I do. You know, the title of the last book, which actually was changed from the leaders, was Nothing's Changed, but Everything's Different. I think it's important for us to know that when we are in the midst of what feels like a crazy, crazy time, same stuff, different day. It's true. The reason that's important is, okay, in 1966, I was 16 years old. I'm in a store trying on clothes. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, a southern state for sure. Lived, as a matter of fact, from the time I was 5 until I left home at 19, in a house that was built on what was previously a plantation, across the street from one of the slave owners' sons. So I'm in the store, 4th Street, trying on clothes. I come out and the store security guy says to me, white guy, can I see your license? Do you have a license? I said to him, yes. He said, can I see your license? And I said, why? Seemed like a reasonable question. I was raised by a police officer, by the way, who always said, it's okay to ask why. And I was raised by a mother who said, nobody can ask you to do something you don't want to do. They can ask, you don't have to do it. Consequences, you'll just take whatever consequences there are. So I said to him, why? So he said, well, some of the salespeople say that somebody came up to him and they said that you were in trying on clothes. And when you came out, they said, you know, man had been in there and men can't go in and try on clothes in the store. And I said to them, okay, 2 things. One is I am flat chested. That part is true. And 2, at that point, I had short hair. And I said to him, but I'm in fact a woman. Now, actually, at that time, I actually knew quite a few people who were trans. I had fallen in love with my first woman, and most of the trans folks that I met were Black, and they were performers, and that's how I met them. The moment in that store on 4th Street, which reminded me of when Black people couldn't go into stores, the moment of that taught me how deeply violating it is to have to prove to somebody who you are and why you belong in a space where everybody else can be. And that's why I've always stood with my trans brothers and sisters. And I just need to take a moment here to say, even when many of my gay and lesbian friends and many of my gay and lesbian and bi folks from organizations were kind of sketchy when it came to the trans folks, I understood as a Black person what it was like to be shut out. I believe that being shut out because I am Black or I am trans or I'm any number of other things is horrific. No one should have to defend where they feel safe to pee or try on a pair of jeans, okay? So I got this award, and sometimes people, I was looking at some of the previous ones, and sometimes people, they have, pearls of wisdom, and this is the Wisdom Award. So here they are. One, when life gets hard, and it does. When life gets hard, find something that makes you laugh, something that makes you laugh out loud. For me, it's comics like Wanda Sykes, Kevin Hart, Tig Notaro. Just makes me laugh. Find something. I don't care if it's pictures of puppies. I don't care if it's people who are on a diving board and you know it's going to go wrong and you know you probably shouldn't laugh, but you're going to laugh anyway. Find something that makes you laugh. It changes you from that moment of just angst. Second, do what you love and do it your way. I was adopted, and they tell me when I was 2 years old, they were bringing me home, and I just talked all the way home. And I have been talking ever since. I love to talk. It's how I make my living. It's my avocation. It's my vocation. It's what I do. Even when people wish I wouldn't, I love to talk. Find what you love to do and do it. Don't compare yourself to somebody else in the way they do it. Do it your way. Don't believe your own press. Okay. Good, bad, or otherwise. Don't believe, you get some number of likes, some number of ticks on something, and we go, oh, and I say to them, listen, I can get more likes if I post a picture of my cat licking its butt than I can if I tell people I'm feeling depressed. Don't believe your own press. Just seriously. Except for this award. Now, this award, I do believe this press. I believe I have been honored before, but I forget why. I do jokingly tell people when they first gave me the honor of being one of the top 100 Black executives in corporate America. There were only 10 Black executives in corporate America. So, that you were one of 100, whatever. It's my running joke. I just saw congratulations from a person I simply love and do work with. I have been honored before, but this is important. I have said to people, I love this award. I am honored by this award. And just as Audre Lorde, one of my sheroes, a phrase that we talk about women heroes, one of my sheroes, which Dr. Janetta Cole first said that I heard, fierce, brilliant, Black, lesbian, maverick, unapologetically committed to justice. She did work because she believed in me and those who would follow in her footsteps. I do this because I believe in you, the next generation, the person that I am handing this baton to. And I know that you are ready to move this world forward, not just our country, but our world. I know that you are absolutely committed to steering us away from tyranny and towards truth, towards beauty, towards the joy in our children's faces, towards a world without hunger, a world without hatred, a world full of hope. Full of hope. This honor for me is a reward. It's a blessing. It's a crown placed gently on a life of speaking and teaching and loving and living. And doing it as a Black, out and proud lesbian. And I thank you all for listening to this and being here. And I know that some of you need to go home and feed the dogs. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So many wonderful gems and pearls of wisdom. Thank you so much. We are so grateful to have been able to honor you. Yes. I know we are getting past our time together, and I want to make sure that we have a chance to do our collective toast. So we're going to bring all of our awardees back onto the screen, everybody at once. So gorgeous, so brilliant, so wise. Yes. So we're going to first provide a toast. I know some of you have your mugs next to you. Feel free to lift up your favorite mug for the toast. Yes. I toast this brilliant 5th annual class and cohort of the Audre Lorde Wisdom Awards. You are filled not only with the wisdom of our ancestors, but the wisdom of lives well lived, achievements well earned, and a legacy that will continue to follow you generation after generation after generation. The work that you have done in your communities and businesses and nonprofits, nationally, internationally, and also in the work of preserving the history and legacies of some of the folks who have poured into each of you. It has been outstanding. I toast you in your future endeavors, the work that you continue to do and continue to drive through, and also the rest and restoration that you are due, because there is also a choice in being able to take time for yourself, to show compassion for yourself. I know some of you have shared some of the struggles and challenges that you're dealing with now so gracefully, so beautifully. And I want you to know that we will always continue to lift up your legacy, do the work with you and in community with you. And also want you to know how much we value you and acknowledge the need sometimes for you to take some moments for yourself, to breathe, and to make the decision to continue to fight alongside us, to teach us, to be in it with us, or to sit back and look out and wonder at the things that you have left behind and the thousands of people whose lives have been forever changed by you. So at this time, we are going to reveal this year's award, which will be put in a beautiful frame and sent to your homes that you can place on your walls or wherever you would like to be able to look at and remember this moment. Oh, you can also drink your tea now if you want to, or whatever you have in your cups, you know. Yes. And so Tom had pulled the award up behind you, ladies. Let's take a quick class photo, and then we will show the award. All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's say Audre. Audre. All right, I think Tom has got it. And all right, let's remove the tiles and show the award.
Come on, Tom, you can do it. We can fight racism and homophobia. You can throw us the tiles.
Mount Rushmore of our movement.
I love that.
That is beautiful.
Isn't it?
Oh, that is so
Wow.
I love it.
Yes.
Oh.
Blessings on all who had their handprints on this. This is gorgeous.
This was created by our own Tom Cunningham, who's
This is too awesome.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Oh, he's a creative genius.
This is as moving
Oh
as the
my God,
words
this
from
is-
each one of you who I've had the chance to really digest in such a powerful way. You guys have really continued to motivate me and give me that strength to continue to press forward, even in those dark moments in this political climate we're living in. You guys continue to inspire me. I thank you all for allowing me to be in your space today to share in such powerful, powerful statements that you all have shared in this wonderful award that we are receiving. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. We'll continue to take it in, ladies. We'll continue celebrating each of you throughout the month. And we hope everyone watching will too. Please share this video. It will still be on Facebook and YouTube and on our website at NBJC on the Move is our handle. And www.nbjc.org is our website. And if you thought this was pretty fire, please save the date for our James Baldwin Legacy Awards, where we'll do this again for the brothers on October 1st, 2025 at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Stay locked in with NBJC's happenings, again at nbjc.org or by following at NBJC on the Move on IG, Facebook, Threads, and TikTok. Now, you can also join us sooner than that. From June 11th through the 14th in Washington, D.C., we will be gathering for the second annual National Equity Week of Action. And this is needed even more in such a time as this. So we really hope you all will join us. The week's activities unite advocates, activists, students, artists, entertainers, equity, justice, and liberation for all of us. Events include a kickoff reception, out on the Hill, Congressional Advocacy Day. Spots are limited to the first 70, so please make sure you sign up. We also will have our Equity Ball, which centers categories that specialize in civic engagement as well as equity and justice. And it will culminate in an equity activation at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool. You can RSVP on Eventbrite. Learn more about these events on our website, nbjc.org. We'll drop the links in the chat for you. We have a lot to fight for. Cuts to Medicaid were just debated for the last few days in Congress and in various congressional committees. There have been attacks on reproductive health care, including abortion, with threats to defund Planned Parenthood from any government-funded programs. There have been attacks on HIV medication access, gender-affirming care access, and so much more. Our health and research infrastructure in this country has also been under attack. So continue to follow us for updates on that. Stay in the fight, be in communication with your lawmakers at all levels of government. We want to thank you all for tuning in. And also for those who have shared nominations for honorees throughout the years. The folks we select for this program each year come from a pool of folks who have continued to respond to the call to let us know who are the folks who could be a part of Rushmore of Black LGBTQ+ and same gender loving people who have shaped the movement and created the moments that we all live in today. Continue to let us know if there are names of folks that you saw this program and were like, NBJC should really honor such and such. Drop it in the chat, throw it in there. It helps us to be able to look at as broad of a list as possible and as deep of a list as possible to honor folks from a variety of sectors. We especially want to thank our event producer, Tom Cunningham, who made all the magic happen behind the scenes, as well as the beautiful artwork that was commissioned this year. We also thank our CEO and Executive Director, Dr. David J. Johns, and team members Emily, Cheyenne, and Jordan, who helped with some of the logistics behind the scenes, our beautiful digital graphics, as well as our press outreach. And another special thanks to Cassandra, John Paul, and AARP for your continued support over the last 5 years. Please rewatch this program, share it with your loved ones and your colleagues, and I look forward to seeing you at Equity Week and during our James Baldwin Legacy Awards later this year.